So Email Plus is on the left-hand side at illinois.edu/toolbox here. I go right in to Email Plus, and here are all my current projects I'm working on. If you haven't used Email Plus before, you won't have anything here. But if you click New, that will generate a new project. If you have existing projects, you just click on one, and that will kind of open your project. So let's go ahead and dive into a new Email Plus. All right. Now, we've made some changes to this screen. When you click New, you're prompted to select the type of email that you want to create. Now, we had a lot of custom one column left nav, you see here below in the grayed area, right nav, and 2-column emails. And this allowed you to insert custom code into a skin that was set up to be a left navigation format or right navigation format. Or it puts your email into 2 columns for you, gave you a couple of content blocks to type in. Those options have changed to this 2-column custom format. And I've got a little video here, and if you click on that, it takes you to this blog where I kind of, this video does a great job. It's 3-4 minutes long. It does a great job of telling you if you used something in the past that was one of those column formats, how to deal with it going forward. We've not taken anything away from you. In fact, we've added the ability for it to be columns to be handled better in devices and across all email clients. So it's really an improvement. It's a little different than what you might be used to. So I encourage you to check out this little video. Let us know if you have questions. But for Email Plus, we encourage everyone to use the Email Wizard. The Email Wizard has been tested in a variety of device types, iPhone and Android devices, and email clients, Gmail and Yahoo across, and everything works perfectly. So if you're familiar with trying to code your own emails, it's a lot of testing and it's a lot of complicated rules. So it's pretty messy. We do allow you to do custom work in both the wizard and the 2-column. So if you still want to do that stuff, you can. It's just that we recommend going with our wizard route because we allow you to kind of insert prefab pieces that have been extensively tested. So we're going to focus on the 1-column format email wizard today. I'm going to choose that, click continue, and here's the general tab. As with all of our software in applications in Webtools, we present, once you dive into a project, you have tabs and forms to fill out. So that's how the workflow will go. You fill out each tab's form, and then you go to the next tab and you fill that out. And by the end of the tab sequence, you'll have kind of completed your project and it's ready, in this case, Email Plus, to send the email. So let's go ahead and go down the questions and I'll show you all the features as we create something. So we've got in this general tab, just some basic overview info that you're going to need to fill out when creating an email. Subject is exactly what you think. It's going to be on the subject line of the user. So for this demo, I think it's probably time I point you to my example. We're going to be, I have a model that we'll create. And let me go ahead and open my sample email. So here's what it looks like. We're going to create an email from this fictitious publication called Great Ideas. This is going to be like a how-to guide overview, and this blog will have created 3 popular how-to guides that our email is going to send to people and say, hey, check these out. So here you see we've got just a basic formatted email. We've got a link to a PDF version and some titles, images, and so we're going to create this today. And so if I have this email, the subject line might be most popular how-to guides. So I'm going to go ahead and okay, something like that. So that would be in the subject line. And I'm just going to type in a from email. This would be from web services. And it doesn't have to be your personal email, or you probably don't want it to be. But this will be who the user sees that this email is from. Okay. The next thing you're going to want to do is choose a group. Now, if you've not used Webtools before, it's a good idea to checkmark this help. And what that does is you see it puts little snippets below, and it kind of instructs you what each section is asking for. So it gives you a little bit more context. It says choose the groups that will receive this email. To create a group, use the group manager. So we'll cover the group manager in some detail at 1:30. That gives us some more time for Email Plus. So if you went to the group manager and you made what's called a recipients list, basically the people your email is going to go to, it will appear in this dropdown for you. And here are all the groups I've created for that. I'm going to just choose one of mine. It's called My Recipients List, and I'm going to go ahead and add that to my email. So I choose it here, I click Add, it appears on the right-hand side. If I want to look to make sure I've got the right group, I can click on it, choose Members, and then it comes up and it shows me my group has these 4 people in it. Okay. You can choose to send to additional email addresses. So typically this is useful if I want to send my boss a carbon copy kind of thing, or members on your team that may need to know that this just went out. You can just type them in. So they may not be a part of the group distribution list. You may not want to include them there. You can type in extra here, and you just type them and semicolon separated. If you're sending to a listserv, we have a separate text field for you to insert them there. You just paste the name of the listserv, like this example. You just paste that below. The reason why we separate this as a different entry is in our reporting feature, when we look at how many people have received and opened the email, clicked on links, etc., we track the listserv activity separately for you. So that's just kind of a place for you to paste in the listserv, and then we kind of know to separate out those users in your tracking. And replies to this, by default, we will, if a user hits reply on the email you sent them, it will deliver to whatever you put in the from email. So it's going to go back to this when they hit reply. So you can also deliver to reply to address. If I choose that, I can enter a special email address that it's going to go to. Or you can do nothing. Now this is a common practice in marketing, and they encourage you not to do it if you don't have to. I mean, a lot of times, let's say you send an email out to 10, 15,000 people, that might be pretty heavy to try to field replies. But it's there if you need it. But in terms of good user experience, it's really encouraged to try to think of a way to field some of that stuff if you can. But I'm just going to keep on our default deliver to the from email. And a lot of times people don't really reply. They kind of understand that sometimes that is not the best format for getting their questions answered, but those options are there for you. Okay, so on this tab, general tab, we have another tab called subscription. Let's go ahead. I'm going to save. I'm just click save, and I'm going to go to the subscription tab. All right. Now, when you create an email, good standard practice says that you allow users to unsubscribe, or you can also allow them to subscribe. And that is available here in the subscription tab. So you can choose to not have subscribers, but if you do, you've got a few choices. You can allow users to subscribe, and there's a heading for unsubscribe here. So my subscribe link, when somebody sees it, will say subscribe unless I can change that. I can type something different. When they subscribe, you can see the group. If I may have had multiple groups I was sending to, in which case I can choose which one to add them to once they click subscribe. In this case, I've got one group. I'm going to hit select. So now when users hit subscribe, they will be added to this group without me having to do anything. Then the next time I'm using the group to send to an email, they'll receive the email, and it kind of manages itself that way. likewise with unsubscribe, I can click this, I can see I can change the label here, and I can see they'll be now removed from the group that I'm having them subscribed to. So it kind of self-manages there. And I can change this special message here also. Now, one thing to note, you may not want to remove them from a group. So let's just say you use this group for lots of other things unrelated to this specific email. So maybe the user wants to unsubscribe from my Great Ideas publication, but you don't want to take them off your list altogether. That's something that's common also. So we have a special opt-out situation that we create for you to handle that case. Um, and it's rather complex. It'll take me about 4 minutes to explain it. So what I have done on go.illinois.edu/webtools help, I've done a really great job of, I've practiced this a little bit, and the opt-out process is detailed here. So I'd rather just you know make get you the information from this little video clip. It covers that scenario probably better than what I'll do it kind of on an improv way. I want to give you the right information and make sure that's articulated clearly. So this video clip does a good job at showing you how to set this opt-out situation up if you don't want to take the users out of your list. Basically, you'll create a special opt-out group, and we have you going through the group manager as well. So um, just know that feature's there, and we do cover it in that help blog. But typically, most of our users use unsubscribe, so I'm going to go ahead and choose this unsubscribe, and we're going to take them out of my recipients when they do. All right. So let's move on to the Appearance tab. The Appearance tab lets you change out what we call a skin. I'm going to go ahead and view this email. When I click View, I get to see what my email looks like. Currently, we don't have anything written for an email yet, right? But what we're looking at here is called a skin. Now, Webtools uses skins for as container shells for holding things like the emails or forms and surveys, blogs and calendars. They live inside of things we call skins. And they're kind of like these little templates that you can make look like your unit, look like your website. Um, we won't cover that here. You can choose from some prefab ones that you have available in your menu, or we're really happy to be able to create a skin for you. So if you send us a link to your unit's website, we're happy to use the elements from that and make you a skin. We can do it really quickly, and we can give you complete access to editing it however you wish, but we can do that for you. And just choose the contact us and tell us that's what you want. Send us a link, and we're happy to set you up with something that you can then kind of just use readily in Email Plus. So you go ahead and choose the skin. I have one here for Great Ideas already. I'm going to click on that. It appears on the right-hand side here. If I choose Save, let's view again. It says click here to see this online. Now, once somebody receives this in their inbox, they can click on this and see the web version of it. I can change what this text says. If I want to do that, I just basically change this. That's why this is here, the label. All right. Now, the theme setting, the theme is something that we're gonna have go away over time. We allow you to have some controls in the message itself, so I don't cover the theme a lot anymore. Same with the settings as well. So, you know, um, I believe these will work if you change. You can override things that have been set in the skin, but the concept is kind of not useful since we added some really nice things in the actual message tab. So I'm not going to cover these in any detail today. I just wanted to let you know that appearance is really you assign the skin. And so we can kind of move on, and I can show you how to set colors and as we move along and such. Okay, so we're on the message tab, and this is the real meat of Email Plus. This is where you actually generate the message. You're creating the email. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how this works. Now we've got 3 tabs, the message where you're creating everything. You have the option to create a salutation, which is a kind of mail merge situation where if you have a list of users that you made from the group manager and you filled out what their first and last names are, you can insert like a variable. So the email says, hi Sally or hi Mark, and then you can kind of continue. You can add a salutation, and you can also add files and link to them. And we'll add one here, and I'll show you how that works. To get started, you got this drop-down menu, and these are all the elements that you can use as building blocks for making your email. So we're going to insert each one of these as we go to create this example, and I'm going to show you how to make this example. Okay, so let me show you kind of one that's already done, just so you get your bearings on what we're going to do again. So here are my projects. I already made one, and here's the actual email. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Um, and one of the good reasons to use the wizard, we also handle like the mobile format. So as this scales down in size, your mobile viewers will see that these images and text collapse nicely. And that's not easy to achieve without a lot of testing. So we're going to create this layout, and we're going to link to a PDF. Here I have it linked to a different version, but let's go ahead and create that here. So I'm going to go back into my project, go to the message tab, and let's insert the first item is actually the title. Now, you may actually have some copy already created like this. I created a Word document that shows basically all the text that would appear in this email, kind of just written out. I'm just going to go ahead and refer to this and copy some of this stuff out and paste it just to save some time. Okay, so the title is Most Popular How-To Guides. Here I can determine its color. Let's just add it kind of dark. Okay. I can change the size. Let's just see by default what happens. So I save it. And instead of clicking view, you can honestly just keep refreshing. And now I can see it's a good size for what I'm trying to create, so I'm not going to change the size. I can link that to something. So if I just add a link here, save that, then my heading becomes a link, right? So I'm not actually going to link that, but I wanted to show you what that could do. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my message, and we've inserted this H1 title. My second element is like a subhead. These quick guides help you gain some time back. So I'm going to copy that. We're going to add that as an H2 heading, so a second level heading. So I choose that, I insert my text, and let's see what that does by default. I think, let me just see if the colors and everything look like what we want. So nope, it's bold and it's orange. I want it to be kind of thin and gray. So let's go with, let's change the size way down to, let's try 16. And let's go with a lighter color. Save that. That looks pretty good. So it's just a secondary headline. Okay. We'll go ahead and I'll come back to this view a print version link, and we'll go ahead and make sure we get these articles in there first. There are images with them. I think I have it open still, maybe. No. Look at the PDF. There are images with each one of them. So I'll show you how to do a single entry here where we've got this article with an image. So let's do that. Okay. So go back to insert, and now I'm going to insert a content block. So I choose that, and it prompts me for some text content. I can also see I've got an add an image tab. So I'm going to grab my copy. You see I'm leaving the title behind for right now. I'm just calling this body copy my text here. I've got a read more link. I can choose this like this little WYSIWYG editor, and I can insert my URL. I'm just going to leave that just so I get my link to come up, but you can type in an actual URL. Just like any other editor, you can make things bold if you want to. You can also insert custom source code. So you can see this is a paragraph tag here, ending paragraph, my A tag. You can edit this, add custom code. You can entirely create this on your own and paste it into the source if you want to. Here I can edit my text color, change my link color, and the size of the text, or I can reset those settings. The section below is for adding some titling associated. So we do have some titling. It's called Steel Cut Oatmeal in 5 minutes. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it in as the titling. And let me show you this actually display title. We're going to check mark that, and then I'll uncheck it, and we'll show you what it does. So let's go ahead and save before we get too far and look at what we did. Okay, so got my body text, and I've got this headline, and it's orange. Let's just say I want to change the color of that, and we can do that. So it's orange. I don't know. Let's make it, let's see here. Let's make it this color. Okay, I'm going to save. And then I refresh, and now I've got this kind of gold colored headline. Okay. So we're displaying the title on screen, right? Well, what's also really great about the title, if I uncheck that, I can save and refresh, and then it's not displaying, right? But I still named it. Now, why would I want to do that? If I go back to my message, you can see that here's my content block, and here's that title. So if you have a lengthy email, you can imagine how many content blocks you're going to get, and they're just named content unless you name them. So this is good to fill out, even if you don't display it. This way you can kind of quickly edit, because I know now here's my entry about steel cut oatmeal. Click into that, and that's why we add the label. In this case, I am going to display it, and we can set it that way. I can also set a URL and a byline. I'll just type one in so you can see it. I rarely use the byline. You may need to, you may want to. If I refresh, here's my headline, and here's a little byline. It's in some italic marks there. So that little setting is there. You can change the color and size of that as well. Okay. Now, since the content and the image really work together in the layout, so in order to associate text and image together, we actually have to create them together. So that's why we have an image tab with your content block. So when we add an image with this block, I already have one. I'm just going to go grab it. I believe it's this top one. I choose my image, and I can upload. And now I've got some options here, you see. So we've got prefab size selections, large, thumbnail, custom size. And now I've got alignment options as well. So let me go ahead and just save and show you where we are. Okay, so I've got this large image in there. It's aligned left. If I were to choose thumbnail and click update, now you can see we've got a small little thumbnail that we kind of size for you. So no matter what your size of your image is, if I click on this little, it says that we size them for you. Larges are 270, thumbnails are 90. You can also choose custom size, where you choose pixel dimensions. So if I were to go, I just deleted it. Let me go at it again. I accidentally clicked that delete button. Okay. Upload. Okay, let me upload. I've got a little bug happening here. Let me go back to this tab and come back and see if I can't work around it. Okay, let me go browse for an image. Open. I'm gonna wait for a second, and now I'm gonna try upload here. There we go. Okay, so I could choose custom, and now I have a center alignment option. let's just say I liked the 270 width that was before. Oops, 270. And we did have percentage as an option, but we learned that wasn't quite widely supported enough, so we just got rid of it. And you can choose whether you want your little title to be above or below the image. That's all that does. If I save this and refresh, now I've got this center aligned image here. And if I chose to have that title on above and save, you see that gold title appears above my image now. So you can see there may be some planning you want to do before you kind of go in and start configuring an email about how you want the layout to be. Then you can kind of quickly go in and start choosing these features and how you want them to behave. All right, additional settings for your images. We've got a lot of them. So when a user clicks on an image, you can choose to go to a URL. Basically, you know, in this example, I've got this read more link. My image, I could have that also click to the same place, right? Which is really common. Go to a video URL, and let me show you what this does. It doesn't actually, so if this were like a YouTube video, this isn't an actually real URL, but let's just say it is. Let's just update that. I'm gonna refresh this, and we've added this little button here. Now, this is clever. I'll show you why we did that. Okay, why might you want to do that? So in an email, you can't actually email video. It's not supported at all enough to the point where we can do it yet in email and have it work with any reliability at all. So what you want to do is if you want to link someone to a video in an email, we can make it appear like to a user they're going to click it and view a video, and it makes it, what it will do is it will go to YouTube at the link. Basically all it's doing is adding this little superimposed play button. So if I click on that, I don't think, oh yeah, here we are, web services, YouTube. It'll go to a link where you can then have your video. So that's kind of a workaround that is a nice way to give it a feeling of having a video in your email, but yet not embed one, which is not possible. Now we do have an embed feature. Okay, what is this all about? So clicking on the image takes the user to the archived web view of the email. Users will see a video placed inside the content. Okay, let's do this feature. For this one, I believe I actually do need to grab a video. So let's go to YouTube and grab a video here. Everybody likes Minions.
My name is 208 Ridge Road, and
let's go ahead and grab this one. You're going to want to click the share, I believe, and the embed, and now we've got the iframe. Copy that. Go back to Email Plus and paste it. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and click Update. Okay. Save that. And I'm going to refresh this. Okay, so here's the Minion video, and it is embedded into this. This is not yet an email, right? This is still a web page. We're viewing it in Firefox. And when you click the click here to see this online, it takes you to the web page version of your email, which can have a video. So a lot of people like to keep the archive active, and it will be indefinitely active once you send an email. We do keep that archive, and you can link to it. So when someone gets the email, they will receive an image, and when they click on the image, it takes them to your web view of your email, which makes it kind of feel like they're going to your email with the video embedded. So a few people asked for that, and it was kind of a neat feature to add, so we did it. So you have that available to you also. Or you can, there is no action at all when it's just an image. So I update, now image does nothing. Refresh, just an image, right? There's also caption text. Let's update that. So we put little subtext below the image, and you can align that. We've got a little alignment feature here. You can center it or right align it, update. So if I did have the image, there it is, right aligned. If I did have the image aligned on the right, for example, I might want also my caption text to align right. So that's possible. Okay. Alt text is text the user will receive when they don't see the image. Now in email, that might be useful to add even more so, because what do you know about email? People don't always display the images. And so when you have an email full of images not yet loaded, the alt text will actually be sitting there. So what they say you should do in alt text is describe the image. Um, so I'm just going to describe it. I'm going to delete my caption text. I'm not going to use that. And left align it again, update. So yeah, here we go. Okay. I think I've covered everything with the images. There are a lot of options that you have. Um, and we do have a limited set though of things you can do. We don't let you kind of do everything with images simply because email carriers handle stuff really differently. So we do kind of want to control things a little bit just so we can make sure that it's working for you correctly. Okay, so let's go back to the message and let's take a look at this. And one thing that I noticed first off is it's real scrunched together. So what we have in the insert box are things called spacers. I'm going to go ahead and add a spacer, and I'm going to move it with these little arrows. You can inch things up and down. So I'm going to add a spacer between my subtitle and my article. I'm going to save it and show you what happens here. So we added a little space here. You can add multiple spacers if you want. If you don't like the space, you can kind of manipulate the spacing in your email to your liking. Let me even add one here above the spacer. Let's try this. I think I might like this. I'm actually going to move this down below. There we go. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and just go ahead and add a second one here. And should be able to do this one pretty quickly, as I already showed you the first one. So I'm going to add a content area, paste in my text. You're going to want to link it up to something. Grab my titling. Display it. Change its color here. I think I have this color here. All right. And I'm going to add an image also, right? And let's go ahead and browse and grab that grill image. Upload. It's a large image, aligned left. Update. Let's save and view. Okay. Looks like my title is still over here. I think my setting for my title, I want it to be the same as this one down here. I like that one. So I'm going to go back to my first article. And I'm going to, let's see, steel cut oatmeal. Yep, that's the one. Okay. It's interacting with my image. So what do I have? Title position, I think it's bottom. And that might be kind of strange to consider bottom being the aligned with the text here, but that's how it works. Okay. Let's add the third one real quickly, just to polish this off a little bit. Firefox is still thinking about whether it wants to do that. Okay. So essentially you're inserting content blocks. You know, you may or may not have images associated with those, and you can just kind of go through your email in sections just like this. So you can decide, you want all of your content in one section if you want, or where you might have those section breaks. Sometimes it's really easy to know when sections might break. Other times you might want to do a little planning. It's really nice to have all of the text kind of decided before I go in to make my layout. So that way you don't have to kind of be thinking about design and content editing at the same time. But you can completely type, create an email however you want to do that. So um, okay. After we go through all of the options to craft the email here, we're going to go ahead and send the email and look at some reporting features. So let me see what we've got so far. Should be okay. I think the only thing I forgot to do was make the orange headline yellow. So I'm going to go back in there. Here we go. And I'm going to change that to the dark yellow color. Save it. Refresh again. And there we go. Okay. What else do I have in my email? I have back to top links, a little rule, and some social media. Okay. Let's do the back to top. Those are called anchors. Anchors are useful for exactly that. Back to top is one use for anchors. Another use for anchors, basically an anchor is a link on the page that takes you to another place on the page. Back to top is a place that is a common destination, right? You have a long email and you want to go back to the top of it, but you can also create links at the top of your email to the various sections below. That's common. You create like a table of contents. So I'll show you how to do this, and that should be pretty easy for you to create anything with this. So my anchor label is back to top, my link name. I'm going to link that to, and this automatically pulls out places that you're able to send people to. So top is not in here, but here's the title. I can go back to the title. That's my first element. So when people click back to top, it's going to go to this. I'm going to click add. It goes ahead and adds an entry. I can edit that now and delete it. I can style it as well. So save that, refresh, adds that link. So now if my screen were shorter than what I could see at once, like this, back to top should take me back to my headline here. So not too bad at all, pretty easy to do that. A lot of people like to create those little table of contents menus. If you have lengthy emails, it's useful to do that. Okay. We also have, you can see in my skin here, I have social media icons in the black area. That's a part of my skin. In the Skin Designer, we allow you to create custom HTML in the footer. So you could add anything you want, including links to social media or your website or however you want to handle those. But let's just say you don't want them in the footer, or you want to add them yourself in the actual email. You can do that. So let's add social media. Okay. Now I'm just going to type in Facebook. This is going to be the link. The URL is, so if you include an actual link to Facebook, we'll include the icon. So our code will look for facebook.com in the URL. And if it does, we understand that to be a Facebook icon. So we'll automatically insert that. And the same thing for Twitter. So I just added a Facebook link. Let's add Twitter. So, oops. Oh, I added it already. I hit enter when I didn't mean to. So I can actually go in here and edit now. So that's what I'm going to do here. Web services. Okay, let's save. And I'm going to show you what that added to our email. So I've got these big icons. They are kind of, I don't want them like this. I want to have them look slightly different. So down below, you can edit styles, icon types. So I think these are prefab size settings, which is, let me show you. You might have to experiment with these settings. Um, I know if I choose orange, I usually always choose the orange when I add them. It's just the one I always choose. And so it adds these little tiny orange ones. You don't get to change custom colors, but you get, so here's blue. If I change those to blue, you can see that we have some options. And let me make sure I choose one of these and it does something here. Okay, I see. So I think these are kind of the default icons at different sizes. Otherwise, you get orange or blue as options. Now, you saw I typed in some text, right? Facebook, Twitter. If you wanted that to show, like if it was, if you did something like this, I think I did this in reverse. Um, that's okay. You get the idea, right? So that text doesn't show up. But if I change the alignment to vertical, now we have some space where we can insert that type for you. So let's just say you can keep it like this, or you can horizontally align them, which removes the type. All right. Let's go back to the message, and I'm going to go ahead and add a rule, a line. I can decide what color I want. I just add a gray line, a light gray line. Let's add a really light gray line here, this subtle line. Okay, I can change its height. Let's try 2. Save. Okay, so I have this line. I have some space issues, I feel like. So I'm going to add some spacers now. Kind of let this breathe a little bit. So above and below my line, it's pretty tight. So let's just insert a few and then move them around. Let's just insert, let's insert 4 actually, because I know I'm going to need that many. Okay, so I'm going to move some of them above my line here. What does that look like? Yeah, I want one above my anchor. And I'm going to put 2 above my line and 1 between my line and social. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. I could add another one here, but I'm not going to. I could also space my articles out a little bit. That would probably make them look better. If I want to, I could insert like space line space, right? And kind of design some dividers between my articles. But I'm just gonna add a little breathing room there because I think less is more maybe, and this kind of separates them out. I could also create, like now that this is done, I'm gonna go in and tweak now my second article, 10 ways to hack your grill. I'm gonna line its image on the right so I get kind of like a little bit of variety. Update that. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's stagger it. Okay. Let's do one more thing, which is add the link to the PDF. So we have on the message tab, the last thing to show you here is this files tab. If I choose that, I already have some things associated, but I'm gonna go ahead and choose the PDF file. So I made my PDF myself here. I'm going to upload that. When I do, it gives me a link, and here it is here. If I copy that link, it's basically, I'm storing it here with this email. So I'm gonna go into the message area. I'm gonna insert a content block, and I'm just going to have this a link to the PDF there. So view a printable version. And I'm going to just put PDF in parentheses. I'm going to click link, paste that in there. Let's save that. And there's my link to my printable version. I can align that on the right. I believe I can do that just by, I'm going to try this. Let's see if it works. Yep, okay. Whoops, I put it between my description and my headline. So you get the idea. I can kind of just move that down. I didn't title it. You can see how it's the generic content label. So that's okay. I'm going to actually move it down 2 spaces here. There we go. So there you have it. All right. Let's move along to the report tab. And reporting is lets you know kind of after you send the email what happens. I always encourage you to turn it on. That's I think all I have to say for now. Let's turn on reporting, save that. Let's move on to send tab. Now I can choose, I can send test. You see this send a test button. I can enter emails, who's that goes to. So it's currently going to me. It will go to you by default, and you can add more people to send test emails to. After the email is sent, send complete notification can be sent to people. So, this may be your boss or people you work with. We have a final check before sending. Let's click that. And I can choose to send this right now or schedule it in the future. You can see that we provide you the option to enter a date. You see this information is basically an overview up here above. It's showing you that the links are found in your email, double check that they're correct. So basically this allows me, I click on my link, it gives me that file, and it grays itself out after I click on it. So basically the idea is you run through these links, and after they're all grayed out, you've tested everything. You don't have to basically weed through all of them in your message tab. We basically just spell them out, test them all for you. Okay, send tab, send now. I'm going to change my group just because I know there are a bunch of other people in here that probably don't want to get this email. They probably will be confused. So I think I have myself only in one of them. I don't want to confuse too many people here. Let me go to the subscription tab. Okay, it automatically updated. That's good. Let's go ahead and send a test. Just see what it looks like. So your test email was sent. Once you send that, shortly after, you should receive an email in your inbox. And here it is. Go ahead and look at the pictures. You can see it should be exactly what we set up in the design view. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead and actually send it and run a report. Okay, so let's go ahead and final check before sending. Subscribe group cannot be blank. Let's go back to the general tab and the subscription settings. That's where I needed to set my subscribe group. Since I changed my group, it wanted to know who I was going to add users to. So now I should be able to save that. Myself only, go back and let's do the final check again. And now my send email is available. We're going to go ahead and send it. Click OK. Your email has been added to the queue and it will process. So once I receive an email, I'm going to go ahead and do some things like click on it, and then we're going to look at the reporting and find out kind of what that activity was here. Depending on now, if you're sitting here waiting, which we're waiting a little bit, that means that you're in a queue with a bunch of other people who at 10:53, on Thursday, that may mean we have to wait in line a little bit for that queue to run. Even though I'm sending one, that doesn't mean that it's going to send any quicker. So we're waiting on some other things to process possibly. So while we go ahead and wait for that, let's go ahead and continue on. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and show you the privileges tab here. The privileges tab are basically everyone on your team who can open this Webtools email plus. If you want to let someone edit this or add to the message or send it for you, they have to be an administrator, in which you just enter their net ID and add them below. But if you have a team of people and you all work on a lot of things together, it's really great to set up a group in the group manager there, and you just add the group, and as people come and go from the group, access to all the projects is just kind of granted globally. So come to the group manager at 1:30 and we'll go into some more detail about that. Okay. So I should have sent. That's a draft. Still waiting on it. So after the email has been sent, the reporting tab, remember we could just turn it off and on, becomes a place where you can then generate the report itself. So I think the system already understands this email went, whether I received it or not. But let's just click on the summary PDF and generate that. And I can download that. Take a look at it. So here's my email. My email went out already. Did not go out already. Total emails sent 0. You can see that when you do go and open the email, this will show 1. It gives you these stats. Clicked on a link is really a cool stat. And down below, we show you if there were links, which ones were clicked on. So that can be a really valuable measure for you. So we recently added opens. So what do we count as an open? If someone clicked on your email and looked at it, it won't count as an open unless they've enabled to view the images. If the images are not downloaded, then the software doesn't actually tag it as an open. And that's pretty industry standard. There's no other way in email to really know whether something's been opened unless this kind of invisible image is loaded. So that's our check. If they don't have images enabled, which is possible in Outlook, it won't count as an open. But we just added the ability for our software to know if they've clicked on a link and the images haven't loaded yet. So if they've clicked on a link or they've allowed the images to load, then we count it as an open. That's just how that's measured, just so you know. Bounces are when the email was not received by the user. So there's a bounce summary below. And let me go through kind of the types of bounces that are possible. Why might someone not receive the email? Well, there are soft, hard bounces. A soft bounce is not a big deal. It means that basically we're still waiting. A hard bounce could be that the email is incorrect, so the user is not going to get it. It's just done, and we're not going to keep trying. If it's a soft bounce, we'll keep trying, and I believe we'll keep trying. I think we try several times. I can't remember the duration, so I don't want to tell you, but a soft bounce, our software keeps trying, and as you generate more reports, as those go through, it'll start reflecting in your reporting. So an out of office, somebody's out of office, that comes up as a soft bounce, so it's not a bad email address, for example. If it is a bad email address, our software actually, if you try to send again using the same group that has the bad email in it, the email kind of becomes quarantined for, I think, 3 emails. So if you try to send 3 times, and then we try to send it again. So we kind of self-manage. We don't keep sending to bad email addresses. You're able to go into Email Plus and view, let's see here. There's a report. Okay, so we block them after a period of time when they're not delivered. So you don't actually have to go in and manage deleting users from your groups if you don't want to, but you can manage that activity. You can generate a report that will show you, let's go to the report tab, any types of things here, including sent confirmation, emails not opened. You can, I think there's one for, okay, emails not opened. Here, you would want the sent confirmation. Generate one of those. Download that and open it. Okay. And then we provide you a spreadsheet with some detailed information about the activity here. So I have not opened my email yet. Let's see if it came. It has not come yet. Or has it come? No, it has not come yet. So I'm still waiting on it. So if you're waiting for 15 minutes, a half an hour, okay. But any longer than that, let us know. So there may be a lot of activity. It's kind of like a peak moment in the day right now when people send. So um, I'm going to go ahead and just keep track of whether it's sent or not. But it probably will send after we get off the demo here. But um, that's how you look up reporting. You can find out all of the aspects of activity that you might want to look at that we can tell you a lot of information. And I encourage you to, send and refine your emails according to the content people want and like. And with um, the link tracking, you're able to see how they've engaged with your content. And if you have tracking on your website, it can kind of pick up where the email left off. And we encourage you to create kind of a culture of good content and hope to kind of give you the tools to help you do that.